Hello, my dear ones. It's good to talk to you, always. I hope you're all doing well or doing the best you can. Don't give up hope for you advanced cases. It's just a physical body. There are certain laws that you've got to learn. Allopathy never learned these laws, never cared about these laws. They're lost in space. They're lost in an academic nightmare, a quagmire of ridiculous theories that sometimes really makes them look stupid as hell. And there's no remedy here. I just did the eyes of a lady this morning, about 5 o'clock. And, she'd been a naturopath who recommended chemotherapy for her. Really? A naturopath, really? Not a naturopath. That's not a naturopath, right? You might have a certificate on your wall, and that's the problem. And I want you guys to realize, when you come through our school, you're learning a point of view that is scientific. You're learning points of view that is totally 180 degrees separate than allopathy. They're not taught lymphatic systems. They're not taught any of that. So they have this bizarre thinking that the body dumps its acidic waste into the bloodstream. I mean, nothing can be, when you start tracing and looking and understanding what happens in the two sides of chemistry, what are you going to experience when your body's acidic? Now, there's this fight between, and I was talking to this other lady whose daughter is a cell biologist, I think, or something, and someone else's whatever, and a chemist. Her daughter's a chemist, and then she's got a cell biologist or something. It's like they're taught wrong. When you think the body is in a predominant alkalotic state, you're wrong. And to prove that, allopathy is an example of that. And if you look at most pharmaceuticals, they're acids. This is why pharmaceuticals have a death rate to them and a harm rate to them. And many of them cause the same problem you're taking them for. It's gotten out of hand. You can understand some pain meds and some meds used in surgeries and stuff like that, essential. But like cardiac work, I spent about 6 years of my life and a lot of hours in cardiac work, pulled a lot of people out, right thumb and left foot or left hand. Yeah. So there's a lot that we could do to electrify and hydrate quickly to help someone in an MI, a myocardial infarction, that sort of thing. But you have to learn that you have only two sides of chemistry, and a child can be taught each side of chemistry and what it's like. And you can get a flask of each level of pH if you want. Stick your finger in it. Stick your finger in 1.5 and tell me what you experience. Matter of fact, take a little 1.5 chemistry and put it in your mouth and tell me what you think. And that's what people are allowing them to put in their bloodstream is 1.5 to 2. So just put even a 2 pH in your mouth. When you drink a Coke, that's 3 pH. Come on down 10 times hotter. Imagine something 10 times hotter than Coke. Now that's your stomach acid. 10 times hotter than a Coke. Now, let's go about 5 times hotter than that down into some of these ridiculous levels of chemo. And it's just like, for what? There is alkalosis in the body in places, fungal places and stuff like that, but by far, systemically, the human body is in an acidotic shape. And the proof of it is we give everybody alkaline chemistry. If you were in an alkaline state, you would be going whoop into a seizure or something. But you don't, because you're in an acidic state, and they've got to learn that. If you look at the cribs and you look at all these cycles and the activity of cells and everything else, they don't discharge alkalis. They discharge acids. Ascorbic acid is a great example of a spin-off on the crib cycle. But we're going to use that. We're going to use an acid to make you better. I don't get that. I've never got that. And we cure people and they kill people. That's simple. Now that sounds brutal and hard, but the hard facts are you don't see the thousands of questionnaires and things that we've gotten through around the world and what the people have to say. That's what allopathy needs to do, is have a conference and see what the people have to say about you. You know what? I sure don't want people talking about me like they do about allopaths. Been to 33 of them. Remember that lady I read? Been to 33 allopaths? Really? But the thing is, their thinking is pretty much down the same line. And that's what has to happen with naturopathy. You know, the naturopaths have pretty much let them cave them over.
We're not doing anything out of the ordinary here.
So, but anyway, stand strong with the truth. But the truth is science, and the truth is nature. You know, they made nature like it's something outside there. Nature's out there. We're in here. And, you know, they're a little funky over there. But, you know, our pharmaceutical companies, that's where the fine stuff is. Under these high-powered microscopes. The Rife microscope, all this stuff like this, right? And look at all their deductions. Look at all their conclusions and theories. So messed up, it's not even funny. They're lost in space. And it's because when you start, like I built custom homes for years, flipped houses, and when I'm building a house, if I don't have my foundation set good, that's like the last place the hurricane took us out of. The foundation was settling and the walls were cracking and the floors were about a half inch in places. We thought we were going to sinkhole. You don't do your foundation properly. Well, foundation is chemistry, like it or not. And guess who created chemistry? Oh, nature. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. Get used to nature has all the answers. That's where these bodies come out of. Nature is everything that's chemistry. And everything is chemistry. This drywall came out of nature. This is Christine Crane, female from the United States, 62-year-old woman. I was watching the Golden Bachelor. Well, he's down to picking 2 women. Damn, that's horrible. Can you imagine the emotional side of that? I don't know. Poor ladies. And these were the older ladies, you know, in their upper 60s and 70s. Some of them took care of themselves pretty good. She is 5 foot 8 inches, 150 pounds, B12 levels non-existent in my bloodwork. Well, you know what? Start digesting your foods better. You know, get your kidneys filtering, get your gut cleaned out, because this is where you're talking about. It's gut flora. So get your gut cleaned out. Matter of fact, you could have some big time malabsorption going on. So take a look at that. And clean up your gut flora. You know, clean up your GI tract, get your kidneys filtering, get the lymphatic system interstitially moving in your body, and then you'll see your B12s come up. Is this a malabsorption problem? Yes, you guys are so smart. Yeah. I love you guys. You know what? We're creating an extremely intelligent group of people around the world. Got to be hard for these guys to take it in the future, because you guys are going to know what you're talking about. And that's what it is. You know what you're talking about. They might laugh at you, but it's like, you know what? We know what we're talking about. You got an A&P professor on board here. We've got everything. Once we get that school, and I appreciate the patience, but it's a lot of work putting that school and then getting the right professors. That's where the, it's getting tough because I don't know everybody, and I want everybody to learn as much as they can about simple, fun things. Fun things to do with nature and things that make you feel good, smell good, all the good things that life offers here in the 5 senses. Yeah, I wouldn't take any of that. I know cyanide is in some B13. Well, cyanide's in most seeds. Look at apple seeds. And that was a big thought with apple juice and juicing the whole thing, and you get too much cyanide. Hard to get clear info on this. Yeah, it is. But I've never seen, because I used to juice the whole apples, and I really never had any problems with cyanide, hopefully. But that's because you have a lot of buffering chemistry. If you took cyanide by itself, it's an isolate. Yeah, but this was talking about the family of chemistry and, say, arsenic. Arsenic is in the family of chemistry. So is cyanide. All these are in the family of chemistry. but they're in places where they're protected unless you want to find them and pull them out. You know, it's just kind of like I was telling you, you can take arsenic, who is a distant cousin, and you can treat him like a brother, like magnesium to calcium, and he'll kill your butt. See, and that's the thing. That's why you can't disturb the family of chemistry. You can't process. There's no reason to process. There's no reason to pasteurize. This whole idea of pasteurizing came out of guess who? Came out of this whole germ theory crap with little understanding importance. So born out of that comes antibiotics, born out of that sulfur drug problems. You know, you're just a mess of what the AMA's created on this planet. It is literally, the human is in a mess because of this. And this includes the level of cellular decay, the consciousness of the cell. So until man learns that there is regeneration and that you guys are the key components of regeneration, matter of fact, we've got a whole new focus coming for you. It's cool stuff. We've been working on this new company, new store. Even the detox center is going to be changed, and it's going to be more toward a health center. We're going to kind of move the word detox around a little bit. Some don't know, we get people again here wanting to detox off meth and everything. So we're going to kind of work around that a little bit and send the focus to health and vitality. So there's a lot of cool things. It's in the works right now. So there's a lot of cool things coming. Hang in there. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's Morse's handcrafted botanicals. And they're working on the site now. And that's where you'll be able to purchase everything that is botanical oriented. Our formulas will always be available through Western, of course, but that'll be on there. But so many things. I'm going to have douchebags for the ladies, enema bottles. I'm going to have everything you need to get yourself well. And just have fun with it. You're going to have fun with it. I wouldn't give this one to worry about it. Want to end up with a stroke or dementia. Remember, Christine, I wasn't that many years ago, B12 wasn't heard of medically. Suddenly, if you don't have it, you're going to have dementia and a stroke. These guys never stop. They never stop. Quit worrying about it. Clean up your gut and start eating like you should, and everything will be fine. Boy, these guys are unbelievable. But that's why I preach kind of getting out of the mind, because it will entrap you, and then you're stuck, and here comes the karma. You know, karma is both good and bad, no question about that. But the type of karma that you get when you're hurting people like that, that's not going to be the best stuff to go through. So you guys are building some nice karma. Yeah. Uh-huh. Hi, we have 2 questions regarding Dr. Morse's protocol. Can we build lean, functional muscle if we only eat fruit and eliminate protein? I tried to figure out Dr. Morse's videos, and it sounds like he says you don't need protein and that protein is bad for kidneys because it's acidic. But how do you build muscle when everybody says you need to take in enough protein? I saw the PDF on the Dr. Morse's site on protein, but it didn't directly address someone who wants to build lean muscles. Well, I came out with Muscles by Nature for you to help you get away from protein materials. Protein materials, or proteins, are of the nitrogen, high phosphorus side of life, right? This is your cabin walls. And so everybody's telling you you need material for your cabin walls, and your cabins are already built, although you have cells constantly replicating, and amino acids are essential to have. Take a look at the process of the digestive process of protein and tell me what you see. Okay, so you have the digestive process of protein, right? So there's no digestion of protein in your mouth. Why would that be? Because it requires an acid digestion at first, right? And if your mouth is acidic, what do you think is going to happen? Oh, since acids leach calcium and destroy cells, you get a good idea what happens, right? So you got to go to the stomach chamber, the only acidic chamber in the gut tissue. And that chamber can get around 2 pH. I've always heard hydrochloric acid is 1.8, but, say 2. So that's pretty hot. You're going from a mouth digestive enzyme of hopefully a 7.5 or 8 in your mouth down to a 2. And this is logarithms. So the tremendous drop that hydrochloric acid makes is amazing. And then it can release pepsin. And then you start to see the breakdown. But what do you break down your protein structures into? And if I give you an example of this, the 3 little piggies. The 3 little piggies, one had a straw house, one had a stick house, and the other had a brick house. Yeah. So a protein is a brick house. It's stacked amino acids. Your body can't use it. It's some other person's flesh, some other animal's flesh. Body can't use flesh. It needs the building materials to build flesh. And the stupidity of it is that whatever's in a piece of flesh, that's what you need to consume. It's untrue totally, because you have a buku amount of processes that are always converting salts and everything else into energy components and breaking down and ripping apart of these. And then when you got digestion, you now have to move. And then you've got a small little distance between the stomach pouch and the duodenum area where the pancreatic duct releases trypsin and chymotrypsin. Why are those released? And they need 7 to 8 pH to activate. Well, wait, I went way down here to 2. So I got to bring it way back up. So I've got hydrochloric acid over here playing a game. I've got bicarbonate over here playing a game. One's acidifying and one's alkalizing. Oh, wow. Bang, 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 right? So now I finally, hopefully, if I didn't combine my protein with a starch, I now have the breakdown of protein. Well, what's my next concern now? Now I've got amino acids, right? Now I can absorb amino acids. Oh, wait a minute. Freaking malabsorption. Oh, how do I get the amino acids in? Whatever we can cram in, right? So you have to realize that fruit, anything with a form, has amino acids because that's what amino acids are. They're formers, and they are carriers. So you have basically repairs. Amino acid is for repairs, rebuilds, things like that. Carriers, a few things like that. They are not used for energy components. You don't burn your cabin walls for energy. I was just talking about that on Naked and Afraid. Now all these people are talking about, I need protein because I need energy. Your body does not burn protein for energy. And if you want to wreck your kidneys, have a high protein diet. And if you're a muscle builder, let me really suggest that you get away from protein material. Protein. This is why I work with all these Mr. Olympia people. Let's see if I got these pictures and stuff around here to show you the people that are really into muscles are learning. Look at Ben. You met Ben from Africa. From Australia. Ben from Australia. That guy did it. Look at that guy, and look at what his story is, and how bad it was, and he saved himself, because Ben's a spiritual dude, man. So he saved himself from the ills of bodybuilding, which is major loss of muscle. You got the flip side of that, right? The flip side of building muscles is a loss of them for the same chemistry. Don't tell me, I've seen them. I've worked with this for how many years now? And I've seen the muscles break down. You're using acid principles to try to build it. It doesn't happen that way. Now, if you want to look like a big whatever, then do your thing. But don't bitch when you have to lose your bowels. You like that one guy we have there. Poor guy's protein. They cut out his whole colon and took pictures of it and all that. Remember him? You got to look at this, not our species. If you want to build muscle, then pack on some, use the muscles by nature formula, pack on some, use greens, alfalfa in particular. Get involved in that sort of thing where you got really heavy amino acids and nutrition. I use the seaweeds, and you can really pack on some muscle. But if you don't use those muscle, you're going to lose them. I mean, the packing on a muscle, and people want to keep them. You can't keep on muscle you don't use. So if you want all your life to be working out, oh, look at me, then okay. But I suggest a more spiritual view. Get a nice body, but get out of me, and a nice body and all these things like that. You can. But that's where you're trapped. And then you start getting all this misinformation out there, and then people go, what? And then the whole journey to Wellville, you've got a lot of ups and downs where you lose weight, that sort of thing. But, go after that. You look at now you don't necessarily see the bulk per se, but if you look at a primate, all the way from a gorilla and a chimpanzee, then go over to the orangutans. If you look at the orangutans, they don't look like they have muscle. Oh my God. Right. Sometimes you don't look like you have muscle, and you can rip someone's head off. That's what I'm saying. When you remove the obstructions to the flow of energy, blood, nerve, and lymph, your muscles get a power to them that's unbelievable. More power than if you're working them, and now you get stiff and you get sore. And like Ben was saying, you get numb because everything swells up, your muscles swell up, they put a hurting on your nerve flow. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So it depends where you want to go with this, bro. It's not protein. People have to get used to the word amino acids. Now we can talk, but putting too many amino acids in the body is, remember, these are necrotic materials. Proteins are necrotic materials. So that's where you get in the stink, the smell, the necrosis. That's where you get the breakdown of tissues, all of that. And there's way too many studies to deny the fact that a high-protein diet tears up your GI tract. There's way too many studies to deny that. Well, when they start getting some more awareness, they're going to start going, oh, that same chemistry is destroying the kidneys. Our bodies are not designed as high-protein bodies. No animal really is. Even the carnivores, high-protein them and see what happens. Got to understand you're trying to get into a world that's not really a harmonious world of health and vitality. You can get strong and big muscles, but you've got to clean the pathway to them. Dr. Morse says fructose is the only structure that can regenerate the nervous system. What's this based on? Below is what Brad says on the topic. I don't give a shit what Brad says. I don't care what anybody says. Be honest with you. I've sat behind this desk and worked on humans, so you can tout anything you want until you sit and get people up walking and you understand this whole thing of fruit and fructose. The nice thing is that Yale just came out and confirmed the brain converts glucose into fructose. Perfect. And then, of course, Patty will tell you that the brain doesn't uptake insulin. So you're looking at the brain using the neuron center, the CNS, is using fructose as its essential need for energy, ATP. Oh, interesting, isn't it? Yeah. And when you start looking, we're putting up some charts with this too, showing you the levels of consciousness and the levels of food they eat and the electromagnetic energy these foods have in them to show you the difference between a low electrical charge diet and the consciousness that relates to that. So, does any evidence? Yeah, Yale just confirmed. Yale just confirmed it. And I hate to tell you this, but if you get lost in intellectualism, you're not going to go anywhere. Go see what's happening in clinical work and practice, and that's where we can talk from. And I don't care if you believe me or not. We have plenty of people out of wheelchairs and plenty of people walking because of that. Oh, could be wrong theory. It's just a fluke. No, there's no evidence that fructose can rebuild your nervous system. Yes, there is. In fact, there is some evidence that fructose can actually damage the nervous system. This guy doesn't even freaking know what he's talking about. And to put something out like that, this is misinformation on this guy. I would throw this guy right under the bus. For example, one study found that chronic fructose consumption impaired... bullshit. No way. No way. Sorry, JD. Grow up. We've talked enough about it. We have clinicals to back it. And now Yale has proved that the brain uses fructose. Sorry. So anybody that says fructose damages, really? I've never seen anybody eat a fruit diet get damaged from it. All we do is see people get well. All the primates would be sick. I mean, it'd be pretty bad there. I mean, that's stupid. People are stupid out there. They bring these stupid theories, these stupid ideas out there, and then people buy into them, like the protein myth and everything else. And now you have all these people damaging their bodies because some dumbass said, oh, you get too much fructose. Sorry, I don't have any patience this morning for people like that. The world is full of numbnuts like that, saying crap like that. Sorry, but I have no patience today for crap like that and people that give out misinformation. Really? He's probably a big meat eater, and let him go eat it. My name is Jamie. I am 40 years old, and I recently took the adrenal glandular for about a month. I started having extreme anxiety all day and night for a couple of weeks, and I stopped the glandular. Good. There could be a saturation point to these glandulars too, That's why I don't like long-term use of any of these things. And a chiropractor notoriously will give you what's the company's name? Thank God I forgot them because they used to be so good, standard process. Everything organic and everything, and now they don't guarantee nothing organic. Their glandulars are industry standard type stuff. They're not like New Zealand, who have loving people and love their animals, and yes, they're going to die. Well, we'll harvest them, and we can use their body parts to help others. Since there are meat eaters on the planet, we can use more of the animals they're destroying to help others. And when we all get our act together, then we won't destroy animals anymore. We won't need to eat meat anymore, and we'll be quite fine. There's plenty of food on this planet, and if not in some of these places, we need to put up greenhouses, and governments need to help feed their people in the right way. Oh, we'll just send rice flour, wheat flour, crap like that. Really? I mean, it's just unbelievable how ignorant this planet is. And it's a thing on health. And the AMA or the medical community is hugely responsible for this. They have used their power and their money to suppress the rights of others. If you're so right, medical doctors, then why would you care what I say? If you're right and you can cure all these people, then what the hell do you care what I say? He's just a nobody over there. This is the way it is. And since people are getting cured all over the place, they're going to buy into you. And since I can't cure anything, they're not going to buy into me. See, and that's not how it is. How it is the AMA says, you don't want to go over to those guys. They're nature freaks. They don't know anything. They use pseudoscience. They don't know what they're talking about. They think the body is in a state of acidosis when it's really in an alkalosis state. They go on and on and on with this kind of crap. There's diseases all over the place. You're just a lucky poor slob to get one. And people are buying into it. Okay, whatever you say, you've got a degree, and that college must know what they're talking about. Do you guys get fed up with the colleges yet? Sorry about it, but so what this did to you, it actually took your adrenals the other way. You reached a certain plateau, and you went the other way. And this is why I say muscle testing. I was talking about going down with quinine one time, and I had this, he was a Texas Ranger, Texas Marshal, and he had developed this machine, electrical machine, not like a rife, but just to enhance the electrical system of the body, right? So he put me on it. Now, I did get burned a little bit, but he did put me on it. I started breathing better, and then it peaked. I could feel it. I electrically peaked And then it went down the other way. I couldn't breathe. I said, I couldn't breathe. I said, get me off of this thing. And so there is a saturation. And I've talked about this in chemistry. And you have to have that or you can't maintain form. So you'd be constantly the electron-proton game. So there is a certain saturation so you can maintain form and equilibrium and all that sort of thing. And electrically is the same way. You have to expand your cell's ability to handle more current. And that's what you do with your consciousness, is expanding your cell's ability to handle more current, because you're now plugged into a current that's beyond fruits and vegetables. And you have to have your body expand to be able to handle that. And that's why I was telling you, I would cramp out of body and stuff like this, and I knew my cells had to get used to this energy. But it was rough for a number of years to get used to that. That's why I came down to vegetables a little bit, and then I didn't cramp as much. It was just too much energy. So the anxiety, so get off the glandular, definitely. These glandulars are just there to excite the cells of whichever respective endo that you're dealing with or tissue. And short-term use of the glandulars is all I care about, just to kind of wake things up. And then the herbs are. This is what the herbs are for the cells. So that's why the herbs are far better. But a glandular is like the consciousness of that can kind of wake up a sleeping gland. But at the same time, saturation, and you experience saturation on that. And I've seen this before with you guys. I went to the emergency room with tachycardia. What? That's not good. I went to the emergency room. She went to the emergency room with tachycardia and PVCs. That's premature ventricular beats, and that's not good. They put me on metoprolol low dose, and I begged for Ativan to be able to sleep, which I still take at night. You can't sleep? Well, that's your pineal gland. I have been researching skullcap, holy basil, etc. for helping to sleep. Skullcap's really good. Skullcap, there are just so many great neurological herbs. Passion fruit will be nice for you. Valerian's, I don't like valerian real well, but skullcap and there's a lot of good herbs for the brain and nervous system. But this is your pineal. And then another glandular. You have to muscle test. Muscle test tells you if your body wants it or not. If your body doesn't want it, you no matter what, you can't resist. When you have that energy with you, it just makes you weak, and you can tell that. And that's what you don't want. You use these glandulars for the right time, the right places, and then pop them off. I haven't been about 70% raw for a year or so. Get up to 100 then. Get your kidneys filtering, get your lymph moving. I don't know what your eyes look like. I don't know if you have pituitary, pineal, but what it sounds like you have pineal. If you have pineal, you probably have pituitary. And then that's going to slam your others, right? So that's going to slam your adrenals and everything else. Is that all you took was the adrenal glandular that caused the tachycardia, you think, and PVCs? Because that's unusual. I've never heard of that. Because that would be a neurological event. When you're talking about tachycardia and PVCs. Tachycardia is fast heart rate. A bowel inflammation can cause that. Of course, any kind of acidosis around the heart can cause that. All kinds of things. But then you went into PVCs, which is a ventricular beats instead of atrial beats. So interesting. You might have that might be an area of weakness that you want to look at. So you might want to pull your iris and take a look at your heart and see what looks like there, see if you have nerve rings and things like that, because you're taking that adrenal glandular for something. And if you have chronic adrenals and you have nerve rings, yeah. So load up on the adrenal herbal formula. And that's the only thing you have left there. She says, I have been completely raw for over a month. Excuse me. Thank God. She said, I have been completely raw for over a month, but with emphasis on grapes and lemon water. Interesting. I like that. Lemon water, keep forgetting about the old lemon water, but, that's a strong astringent. And, of course, there's the Stanley Burroughs 10, but it was long before Stanley Burroughs. He was a Hawaiian. Remember him? I had the 10-day lemon juice fast with the maple syrup and a little pinch of cayenne pepper. We have that one. And that one's okay. And I like that because you give buffer a little of the acid of the lemon, but you still want that astringent value. And then a little cayenne pepper to send it on its way. I have a cough that is not really productive. Well, that shows you're agglomerated. When you have a cough and nothing comes out, you're locked, right? So to loosen up is hydration. And hydration is going to come when you have alkaline food. You can't hydrate on a piece of protein. Who would ever think you could hydrate on a piece of protein? Beans, meats, I don't know. Also, my goal to the pasteurized dairy products, too. How do you hydrate on those? I don't know. Listen to this. I cannot seem to keep hydrated and have a past of breast cancer with all the treatments. All right, now it's starting to make sense. Well, you got a lot more problems than just taking an adrenal glandular causing tachycardia and PVCs, honey. Holy crap. If you've done all the treatments, that means you've done chemo and radiation. I mean, that destroys your heart tissue right there. Oh my God, look at that. Well, now the truth's coming out. Holy crap. I have spots on my lungs and spine. I have a cough that is not really productive. And that's all tied together. Because remember, this is your lymph. And this is a good example to show you this poor soul is so acidic, she can't break that loose. And that's the way with most of us. We get so acidic, we don't realize we're stopped up. We don't realize we have congestion until something loosens it up. We get cold air, we get something cold, or we go on an alkaline diet. Oh, it's bad for you to go on an alkaline diet, right? So really, you see that if you were alkalotic, you'd be in seizure land right now and everything else. No. I need to get my endogland. Okay, think pituitary, sweetie. If you're short, think pituitary. And if you're not, look in your eyes. Get a picture of your eyes, sweetie, and look to see if you've got that pituitary, because that's everything. You can't get your adrenals up if the pituitary sitting there going, no. He's the Wizard of Oz. He's going, no, you're going to stay down there, young one. Oh, but no. He's the boss. Right? You got to take care of the boss. So, clean up the gut. Remember how the connecting link of the transverse colon is to the sinuses, and go after that. I would do 2 dropperfuls of the endocrine gland formula, the herbal formula, and I would do probably the pituitary if you've got it. But I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, because you want to hit the parathyroid. But hands down, what is the one thing you want? You want to see this crap in your urine. Then you can start getting these spots off your spine and spots off your lungs and stuff like this. It just shows you're systemically involved lymphatically. Well, lymph system is a systemic fluid. So this is just showing you that you're another victim of the lymphatic system, which we all are. Hello. And so you're learning about that, honey. And that juicing is harsh on my body, so I am sticking to the grapes. Yeah, unless this is your whole focus is juicing and everything, I don't. I knew Juice Man. But when you wear out helping yourself get well, that doesn't help anybody anyway. So you want to take it easy, In your journey to Wellville, relaxation is a big part of it. Is a big part of that. Relax. That's what I'm trying to do at home is relax. I'm so busy, but relax. And it'll all happen. When you relax, your nervous system relaxes, everything relaxes, your bowels relax, everything relaxes. And now your bloodstream moves better, your lymph system moves better because you tense things up. But acids tend to make you tense up like this. What acidosis is. Every time I try to sleep, I get a weird sensation in my body and I make a moaning sound and feel restless. Drain that sinus. Work on your GI tract, get the GI broom, but also go after the kidneys. You want a lymphatic formula. You want, of course, your endocrine gland formula. You want, buy a couple of those because I suggest 2 dropperfuls. You might want to hit the fungus in the body. Parasite M, 2 dropperfuls 3 times a day or 4 times a day. You could get the pineal glandular, but muscle test, since you're this sensitive, you want to everybody muscle test yourself. Hold it in this hand. Don't know what you're holding. Let someone stick it in your hand behind you. Let someone stand behind you. They're going to push down on your arm, and you want to hold whatever it is or touch whatever it is that you want to test your muscle with. But you want to test it. And use this muscle because you can't hold it when you're weak. You can't hold it when it's telling you that it's not going to be good for you. I have been on the adrenal formula for a few months and endocrine formula for over a week. I am filtering, but it was better before they did testing in the hospital. CT scans. Oh, man, that's interesting. Wouldn't that be wild if a CT scan would block or in some way inhibit your ability to filter? That's scary. That means radiation swell up the kidneys again. I don't know. I mean, what the hell? Glad you're filtering. That's important. Thank you beyond words for all you do. Oh, Jamie, listen, honey, we got to get you better here now. You're only 40. So, stay away from the glandulars, but muscle test yourself first because like your sleep, if you're not getting good rest, a pineal glandular is very helpful. But again, if not, use circulation formulas, get up in here, get draining and get blood flow and lymph. You got blood flow and lymph flow. The two, blood, nerve, and lymph. You got the 3 main energy flows of the human body. That's simple as she gets. And so you want to make sure all 3 are moving. And work on the neural lymphatics up here on the C-spine and down the back. Get those neural lymphatics moving. Go to a chiropractor. See if you're out of line or anywhere, and they can put you back in line there and get your flow better. Because you got blood, nerve, and lymph coming right down that spine. And I love you too, honey. You guys are doing good. There's a lot of ups and downs to getting well because man has got himself so advanced in his issues. So don't beat yourselves up. Man has not understood the sewer system of the human body. And that's because naturopaths have been slammed, and now you have naturopaths that are medical. That's an oxymoron from the word go. If you see a medical naturopath, I wouldn't go to him because he doesn't understand truth. If you understand truth, naturopaths are not going to use the word medical and not going to use the word diseases because it's fallacy. It's an illusionary concept. It has no beginning or no end. It's just like time. There's always something else, and they come up with something else, and they'll come up with something else because you're not looking at reality. And the sad thing in chemistry is what gets me, is that chemistry is taught wrong in a lot of places. I couldn't believe this chemist actually believed that his body was in a state of alkalosis. And boy, did we prove him wrong. And couldn't believe it. So he got a doctorate in chemistry that taught him that the human body is more in an alkalotic state and instead of an acidotic state. And that's might be their big problem. This is Amber. Hi, Amber. Always did like the name Amber, but this is a male. Amber Shear, United States, 48-year-old man, 6'1". 6'1", man. That's going to be pituitary. I'm telling you, 192 pounds, good shape. Recent diagnosis of the liver metastasized. What? Oh, this concerns someone else. Dr. Morse, do you have any idea what can be done for liver disease? Okay, so absolutely, man. I mean, how many livers have we repaired? Yeah, I was talking on another video about the liver flush. I suggest you spend 2 or 3 months getting your livers cleaned up before you do a flush. I remember I told you that I had this one lady, she had cirrhosis so bad, very advanced case. But I worked with her 3 months on the liver and kidneys and getting the lymph and everything. And I thought, well, 3 months. So I did a liver gallbladder flush on her, and she got pieces of her liver out. And that was not good. She started going downhill. And that's, there's times where you're just not good. You just, And so let's talk about the liver. What's the liver made of? Oh, a bunch of cells, 2 fluids. What? So you got a bunch of cells, you got spaces around the cells, and you got 2 fluids that feed liver cells. All right, let's go next door. Let's walk across the street. Hi, Mr. Pancreas. Knock, knock, knock. All right, can I come in? What are you made of? Oh, a bunch of cells and spaces and blood and lymph. Oh, let's go to the lungs. Yeah, we'll go to the lungs. Oh, same thing. Well, let's go to the uterus. Oh. Let's go to the prostate. Oh, same thing. Oh, okay. So when these tissues get in trouble, they get in trouble because I'm just sitting there and I'm your liver. Now, how am I getting in trouble? Well, you could be consuming some gnarly chemistry, some real bad chemistry, no question, that could damage the liver, no question, if you absorb it and it gets in right, maybe. But high protein diet absolutely could damage the liver. Absolutely. Damages everything in the body. Don't take my word for it. I don't care. All right, so that's when a lot of people high protein. Yeah, that could do it. Yep. But, wait a minute. Blood's moving pretty good there. There's no ischemia in the liver, so blood's moving pretty good. Nerve, the nervous system in the liver. Yeah, seems to be producing everything pretty good. What's left? What's left? Blood's moving. Nerves moving. What's left? One major fluid. That is the major fluid of the human body's left, and that's your sewer fluids. What happens in the liver when your lymphatic system gets backed up? What happens in your pancreas when your lymphatic system gets backed up? What happens in your uteri when your lymphatic system gets backed up? Do they call that endometriosis? What happens to your prostate when your lymphatic system gets backed up? Oh, just a fluke? Hypertrophy? Just a fluke? Yeah. So what happens to your lungs when your lymphatic system gets backed up interstitially? And the same thing happens to every cell in your body when your lymphatic or your sewer system gets backed up, because they don't carry alkalis as much. They're acids. That's why they're a lipid-based system. A lipid-based system doesn't deal in so much alkalosis. It would make sense. You would not make sense if your body was suffering from extreme alkalosis and you have a sewer system made of lipids. You've got alkalos, no question, because we do consume a lot of complex sugar. But in the same mouth, you better say we consume complex proteins or amino acids, because it's the same evil side. Complex sugar, complex amino acids, both sit on the same side of on the opposite side of chemistry, but both will burn both will burn cells badly. But it's by far acidosis that destroys the human body. Easy to get the body out of alkalosis. See what I'm saying? So when you have liver, there's just a name for every level of liver problems. Every tissue starts out, and you learn this in iridology, in an acute stage. Basic inflammation, the body is either running some histamines and moving some more blood aggressively and trying to get lymph moving a little bit. You can see that inflammatory process all the way up. You start to see calcium being pulled out of connective tissue. You start to see your veins. Your fingernails are starting to get brittle and weak again. Their body's starting to borrow calcium to fix itself. But then you're starting to see calcium deposits like bone spurs and arthritis and stuff like that because when you pull an alkali out of matrix and it hits an acid solution, what happens to it? Rock. It's just chemistry. Just chemistry. The vampire sucking of electrons. I love that one. So you see what I'm saying? So liver, pancreas, it does not matter what tissues that they're saying you're in trouble with. You're in trouble with what system in that tissue. Because you've got a liver and a little gallbladder and a bunch of cells and two fluids. Each of those cells, though, what's the difference? Each of those cells have the same kind of level of consciousness? No. Everybody's a specialist. You're all specialists. Every one of you are unique. Each one of you have your own awareness. Each one of you have a specialty of some sort that you're good at. And that's what makes every one of you beautiful people. Well, every cell in your body is a beautiful person. They're just doing what they're told to do, and they're responding to the chemistry you're putting in there. That's all that's going on. There's no diseases out there. That's the illusion they want you to live by. Then they get your pocketbook, and then they get your death, and then they get your family. It's a good way the world order gets rid of people and then collects some money doing it. Slick. Whew. But it doesn't matter which tissue is involved in the human body. You have to focus on the lymphatic system, because if you don't, you're seeing the rest of the world and what they're doing. Right? Who's curing things out there? You hear some, but not much. I get a little better here. I got better, yeah. Did you get up out of a wheelchair? Yeah, like the guy going around saying that meat is helping people get out of wheelchairs. Liar, liar, pants on fire. All these things like this is just, humans are already confused. And for more souls to come down on this planet and confuse them just makes the masters a little upset. Let me see here. My husband has, or her husband. My husband has been having stomach pains and an incredibly itchy spot on his back for around a year. Now, there's a fungal area right there. That itchy spot on the back, if he's got moles growing all over him, he's not metabolizing his sugars, you're going to go to the adrenal glands for that. Or he's consuming too much sugars for his body to process. Which again, too much sugars, too much proteins, you get into a lot of acidosis. Or alkalosis. It doesn't matter. When you're at each side of the scale, you're going to burn. But by far, the problem is acidosis in humans. And if you treat it that way, you're successful. We wouldn't have a name if we didn't. So, getting exponentially worse, yeah, because that's his lymph system there. And he's just got stagnation in that spot. Every time you see stagnation, you'll end up with a cyst there or a tumor, that sort of thing. And generally, when you look in the body, there are genetic weaknesses within those tissues and stuff like that. It's the same in the liver, the same in the heart. It's the same everywhere you go. They all get tumors. They all can get fatty. They all can have all kinds of the same type of problems because you're seeing the kickback from acidosis. You're seeing the effect of what acids do to the human body and what the human body does to try to rectify, to remedy this. Because your body's not going to sit there and take it. It's like someone coming over and beating you up. You just sit there and take it? No. Your body's going to fight. And when it fights, it uses the inflammatory process. Add, you medical doctors, to the inflammatory process edema, calcium, and cholesterol. Those are also all in that inflammatory response, because it's all in the response to acidosis. We finally got to see our primary care office, and they took a CAT scan that revealed innumerable masses in his liver. The biggest being 5 centimeters. Oh, wow. The confusing part is that the abdominal scan shows no other growth, so we don't know where these tumors have metastasized from. Well, Let me take a minute. Let me take a minute. Okay. Now, what were we just talking about? Lymphatic, right? So is there a lymphatic system in your liver? Oh, yes. Is there a lymphatic system in your brain? Oh, we just found that one. And well, I mean, Virginia, University of Virginia, and then who else? What was it? The French or one of them found the brain. Yeah. So we know there's a lymph system in the brain. Mm-hmm. And we know that tumors are not blood clots, right? Tumors are not blood clots. Well, what other fluid is there? You got water. They're not water clots. Oh, there's only that sneaky little lymph system. That's all the tonsil stones. When you see Dr. Pimple Popper popping, get the pop, that nasty white stuff coming out, that's all lymph. That white stuff comes out of your urine. It's on your skull and dandruff. It's all over the place. Excuse me. Come on out. I had a big glass of orange juice that big. You know, I haven't had any oranges in at least 1 or 2 months. And it's like, finally, we found some sweet navel orange juice. It's coming. It's November. Yeah. Gonna have some food to eat. It's been a horrible summer down here. I was able to fast on mangoes pretty good, but then now the mangoes are all stringy. You see those strings in mangoes? I hate that. So you're acting like your cancer is like a car, or your husband's cancer is like a car. It travels and drops off some cancer cells or whatever every so often. Now get out, you get here and make that face cancer. It'll drive over here and make that. Your same lymph system is down all through him. He just has some genetics in his liver, but I'm telling you, that whole right side of his body is down lymphatically. And his lungs up for grabs, his brain's up for grabs. Everything on this side is up for grabs. And when you start to see the left side going, both kidneys are going down now. Your kidneys are where you want to go with this. How do you get these tumors out of the liver? You first have to understand where they're coming from, right? So where does tumors come from? Where does cysts, boils, pimples, where does all this stuff come from? It's not blood. You might see a little blood in it. So what's everything made of? Oh, cells, spaces, blood, and lymph. So when I pop a pimple, I get blood and lymph. A little bit of blood, mostly lymph. That's your lymphatic system. That's your body. That's how the body feeds itself. That's your blood and lymph system. That's your nutritional system. Food in, waste out. That's simple. And if a medical doctor can't understand that, I don't know what to tell you. You know, goodies in, waste out. Not goodies in and waste stay in. Because when it's goodies in and waste stay in, guess what you get? Tumors, cysts, boils, and all the stuff like that. You got to think this out. Because if you fall in there thinking, you go crazy. Because this doesn't make no sense. You suddenly think cancer's got its own mind to it. And you're willing to pay any money to help save yourself from it because this cancer's getting you. You're your own worst enemies. You know, it's hand to mouth, man. Hand to mouth, breathing. Chemistry's chemistry. And you can't go anywhere where chemistry doesn't exist at the physical level. Let me see what else. Okay. And I'll tell you this. To have this in the liver, remember the liver's just a branch on the tree. What's the tree? Your gut. So he has major malabsorption. I don't even have to look at his eyes to know this. Major malabsorption, major lymphatic stagnation, and the next place you can see problems is going to be in his gut. Colon tumors and things like this, polyps and things like this. We are waiting to be scheduled for a biopsy to learn exactly what kind of cancer it is. Really? I wouldn't have those jokers touch me. I wouldn't have them go in and take a piece of my liver when it's highly inflamed like this. You just set things off like crazy. And once you open a tumor, boom! So I'd really rethink that. Who cares what type of cancer? Who cares what cells are getting broken down? It's acids breaking down cells. Who cares what a pathologist says about that? That's the end result. Sorry, guys. All the staining and crap that you go through. Yeah, I know. I was talking to Pat about that and how they damage cells, tissues by staining them, and half of what they don't know with all that. It's amazing, histology and that sort of thing. And I was going to be a histologist one time. Couldn't stand the toxic. I was in Cape Coral Hospital. Couldn't stand the chemicals in the lab. Couldn't smell them. Couldn't take it. Horrible. It's a very toxic world in the medical community. The scans are toxic. All these things are toxic. Remember, I spent a lot of years in nuclear medicine. You talk toxic. We got that little cross, that little red thing with the skull on it about every morning in front of the nuclear medicine door. We were using thallium at the time, very radioactive. Whoa. Amazing. It's kind of like kids in this big store that doesn't know anything about anything, and they're just looking at things and seeing tearing things apart and seeing what it looks like, and come over here and tearing things. That's what it reminds me of a medical doctor and about health and how the body has all these tumors and things in it. They don't know what causes them. They think cancer is a traveling band of who knows what, gypsies with a mean attitude. Give me a break. Stupid crap. And your biopsy is the worst thing you could do. So what? Assume you got cancer cells, and who cares what type they are? Just cell. It doesn't matter what you label something. That's the mind choking you. Say, we gotta label it. We gotta label what? Who cares? You got inflammation in the liver, swollen. You got cells broken down. You're not moving your lymph out of your liver. What could be blocking that? This isn't a disease blocking your liver. Tumors are full of chemistry. Where does this chemistry come from? Out of the air? It's your waste from your cells. And your liver tumors are waste from the cells of your liver, and your liver will keep producing waste. And these tumors will keep getting bigger until you open the doorway of your lymphatic system. If not, you're not going to like how they treat your husband. And he'll end up dead. Because that's just what this whole journey is with them. You have to understand the lymphatic system and what it is to the body and how vital it is. So vital they wanted to call the interstitial spaces another organ, didn't they? The interstitium. Oh, it just doesn't stop. Considering the number of masses, I presume they will likely recommend chemo or radiation. That's really cool. Here we go. We got a liver full of acids, and we're going to give you a hotter acid than those acids that are damaging your liver right now. Oh boy. Let's see if we can burn the holy hell out of your body and then see if you survive it. If you survive it, we did good. Is there anything you can suggest? Oh, hell yes. Fight this holistically. You're not fighting anything. You created a glomulation he has in his body, and you probably have too, and we all have to a certain extent. But those people that are waking up to these simple facts of the lymphatic system and they're starting to apply the laws of nature, they're getting their remedy. Those that are going to biopsies and radiation and chemotherapy, they're getting their deaths. And on drmorse.tv, there are plenty of studies that we have up on there to show you that. I think even a Harvard study, the sooner the diagnosis was it, the sooner the treatment, the sooner the death. You can't treat what you don't understand. And you can't treat what you don't understand with an acid that destroys about everything around it. That's insanity. I guess I'm in a quirky mood today. I've been working hard all weekend. I'm telling you. Whew, my body is needing a rest, so I'm resting when I'm talking to you. I suggest you learn about your lymphatic system. I suggest you go to my school and learn the truth about things before you start doing some things to your husband that could hurt him. Diet, detox supplements, resources you could point us to will do anything. There's the People Against Cancer. They used to be a big organization. Excuse me just for a minute here. Let's see if I got their stuff here. Is this People Against Cancer here? You can see where they are now. I don't know where they are on this. You know, hydrazine sulfate, Russian. Yeah, I've tried that even. Let me tell you something, guys. I've tried all kinds of stuff. You won't believe it. That's why I'm adamant, because I have tried everything. But these are a good group of people, I think. I don't know if they're still in. Is this another one? New Directions in the War on Cancer. People Against Cancer. I think it's the same people. You're not in a war. If you're in a war against stupidity and unawareness. You're not in a war against a disease that has that is an illusionary concept. There's a cause for every effect, and it rests in chemistry and physics. And that's the main sciences of nature. And everything is chemistry, like it or not. And the pHs of your body and of interstitial spaces and of all of that is vital, just like the pH of your blood is vital. Well, the pH of all your fluids are vital, even cytoplasm, cell fluids, that's vital. Because when you start changing and augmenting it, and you start moving toward your cationic environment, start looking at the two environments, anionic and cationic, and start looking at which one is which. The acids create the cationic, and the alkalis the anionic. Understand these two simple sides of chemistry, and what do you expect under the acid sky? What would you expect to see when things are acidic? And what would you expect to see when things are hydrated and alkaline? We're not talking way at the end of the scales, because you can be down to 1.5 to 2, and you're still not at the end of those scales. Because you got stomach acid there. Supplements, there's absolutely none that I would recommend except botanicals. I've tried the beta-glucans. I've tried all kinds of things. MSMs, I've tried all kinds of things. And now that I learn what they are and how toxic some of these are, it's like, wow, I didn't do that. I tried apricot kernels. I used to sell apricot oil. I've done a lot with Contreras Clinic and Baja. I've done a lot of work with this through the years. And I can just tell you what it boils down to. And it boils down to you have to sit down and start ripping this concept of cancer out of you and start realizing the pathway of life in the human body. You've got a bunch of cells with two major fluids that take care of them. And your cells are structure function. In other words, they make up your structure and they make up the function, whatever that function is. Then how do I take care of these cells? I got to feed them, right? I got to get them energy. Well, sugar is your energy source. Sorry. And glucose is your main energy source for your muscles, but your fructose is your neurological. We prove that all day long. Sorry. Throw that away. So these are electron rich. It just makes sense if you understand physics and you understand electrons, protons, and chemistry and how that all works, how vital your diet should be as an electron-rich diet. And that includes your mother's milk. Electron-rich diet is an alkaline diet. Why is that so important? ATP, ADP, AMP, these are energy factors. Without energy, a cell, what happens with you without energy? I can't hardly think very good. I can't think. I can't move well. I can't do anything well. Well, translate that to a cell and then see what you get. Same thing. What do you want? Oh, you wanted some thyroxine, did you? Yeah. Or your pituitary. Oh, you need some TSH? I'm sleeping with my pineal over here. It's all about the cell and the cell's level of consciousness. Well, how do you take a healthy cell and bring it down to a level of mutation, or to what they would call a cancer cell or mutated cell, right? How do you do that? Well, chemistry has to be involved to do that. You can't do anything without chemistry. So, it's the healthy side of chemistry that's destroying my cells. Acids, acids, acids. And that's when you begin to see the inflammatory response with the retention of acids, from the very basic inflammatory edemic responses to the very serious responses. And this is, serious stuff. And after a while, it'll suck all the calcium out of the capillaries. You'll start bleeding around your tumor. It just goes on and on and on till the death of that tissue, because that's the job of acids. What other side of chemistry is going to take you down to the atoms again when you leave your body? We need your atoms of your body. How can I get the atoms out of your body if you want to keep them? But you can't keep them because this is a touch and go planet. So, you got to understand the lymphatic system. These guys do not understand that. And if you want to fall prey to this, you're going to hurt your husband. He's going to hurt himself being stupid. You don't need to biopsy it. Assume you've got cells in there that have been broken down. Who cares? They're not the problem. Cancer cells not the problem, people. Hello, medical doctors. Smack, smack, smack. It's what caused them to become a damaged, mutated cell is the problem. God, it's amazing the stupidity. I said this, if you want to see what a donkey looks like, a medical doctor walks down to the ass end and lifts up the tail. Oh, I see what a donkey looks like. Jesus, criminy. I love you, honey. Thanks, Amber. I appreciate that, honey. And I can just say that I get a little bent out sometimes, but I've been doing thousands of these videos, it seems like, and we've got to get the lymphatic system and what's going on in the human bodies. Allopathy has no clue. These guys are in serious trouble with their level of death and harm to humans. How can you take a word for someone? How can you're having your husband chemo, right? Of 100 people that walk into chemo, look at the stats. Of 100 people that walk in the door of chemo, here, juice me up. Oh, you don't do that anymore. You're going to go right up here and right into my, okay. How many people walk out not free, in remission? In other words, I burnt the hell out of that tumor and it shrunk. You're in remission. Oh, it's still there, but you're in remission. These are liars, liars, liars. They have no clue what they're doing to the human, destroying the human species. And putting a smile on their face doing it. We're good old boys. Really? I don't think so. And there's serious stuff going on here on this planet. Serious destruction of the human form, of the human psychic, and it's got to stop. You got to stop. So we are here to bring about an awareness to help this planet grow up and learn. And your husband will be real careful, because only 10 people, to me at best, walk out of chemotherapy alive. And then they have a 5-year statistic to where about half of those die. So in reality, about 3 or 4 or 5 people with strong constitutions survive chemo for over 5 years. What? So they made that like it's not them that's doing this, it's your cancer that's doing this. Our chemo's trying to help you. It's not killing you. Oh, don't tell them. Yeah, right. It's that cancer, that traveling thing. It's going to get you. It's traveling. It's going to move all over your body. And this tumor over here, it's traveled and moved over. How can a cell become a tumor? That's a good question. I don't know, but it did. And then, really? This is insanity at its best. And people are walking right up to it and say, go ahead, put me in a port and juice me up. Because I'm scared to death and there's nothing else I know or can do about it. That's because they've done all this work around the world to suppress naturopaths. That's because they're the narcissistic people that seem like they want to own and control the world or something. I don't know what it is. You hear these nice medical doctors, they're so sweet and nice to talk to, and then the next thing you do, poop! I don't know what to tell you. I'm telling you, I'm feeling pretty good today about that sort of thing. It's crazy, and it gets me. So many deaths, so much harm with chemo and radiation, so serious lack of understanding that you have a system down. Your husband has a system down like most of us. It's a lymphatic system. And that's the acid system of the body, and I don't care what they say. Who cares what they think? These are people that can't cure anything. When you can't cure anything, who cares what they think? These are people that don't know how to cure nothing, and their opinions matter as much as this much. So if you start taking all this home with you and worrying, you need to learn. Learn about the body and learn about the body. This is why we offer our school for you. It's not that expensive. It's cheap as hell compared to colleges and other schools. And you get to learn the facts about the lymphatic system. Take Patty's A&P courses, anatomy, physiology. Learn about that. She teaches medical doctors what they know. But if you want to save your husband, you'll learn about the lymph system and the tie to the kidneys, which is real close to the liver, and drain that right out of there and get these masses out of him. But you got to get his kidneys to filter. Why would we talk about kidneys when the liver's over here? Well, it's close. Because you're talking about the eliminative organs of the system that's backed up. And that system is a sewer system, and a sewer system backed up in any house will destroy the house. One more. I'm feeling quirky. But you got to get this. You got to thinking of the medical conversation of cancer is the biggest joke on the planet. In such a serious a situation of people having high acidosis and their bodies being destroyed, and these guys are playing their games like that, juicing you up with a hot acid like that. Who ever allowed this to take place on this planet? 53-year-old female, Latrance, United States, no weight or height. Overview is problems staying asleep, high anxiety, tachycardia, maybe heart palpitations. Okay, now this is herself. Problems staying asleep, high anxiety, tachycardia, maybe. Heart palpitations, sometimes it beats hard and fast and sometimes slow. So you have Brady tachy, what they call Brady tachy. So Brady is down, speeds up, Brady tachy. Neurological event, I'm going to suggest that you clean your GI tract up big time. In my opinion, it's related a lot to your gut and your stomach here. Could be related to your lungs, but a lot's right here. This is really the autonomic brain, so you really kind of want to get in there. The adrenals are highly involved. You have high anxiety. Who knows what your blood pressure really is? So you probably have low blood pressure with that. That's, of course, we're talking about the adrenals on top of the kidneys, and now we're talking about the sewer system, which we just discussed. You see how everything leads to another. Every tissue in the body all supported with each other. And the main flows of energy are supported by all these tissues and all the endocrinology of the body. Blood, nerve, and lymph. That's how cells maintain their ability to function, how they maintain their integrity, their health, their consciousness. It says so when wrong chemistry is applied, guess what happens? It's that simple. It's not about diseases and all this crap. You go back and study. Pasteur, go back, Vercrow, Beecham. Beecham was a little better, of course, but you're getting back in where the germ theories were all perpetrated and all that. Rife did try to come in and help that study, show it's a little more external. And then look what they did to him, killed him, burned his lab down. So Rife isn't existent anymore. I mean, the powers that be have done everything they can because Rife claimed he could cure cancer with the Rife machine. But he was looking at it as a parasitic problem. And that's the problem. There will always be parasites involved. There's always fungal problems involved in high alkalotic areas, absolutely. That's when you have fermentation. Whatever you see going on, nature's involved in cleaning and trying to fix these things up. That's what nature does. You don't have to ask nature. It's a natural response. So the sleep takes me to her pineal, right? Well, we don't have enough information here, like her height or anything else. But let me suggest that we might be looking at a pituitary issue here with her. I mean, she's got the sleep. I'm going to guess the tachycardia. So you want to look at her pituitary gland. What's the condition of her sinuses? What's the condition of the transverse colon, since that controls the top head here? And start opening all these doorways up and getting all this drained. I suggest you probably look at your blood pressure. If you're running low, I highly recommend you pop that up with some licorice root because you have high anxieties. That means chronic adrenals. And chronic adrenals means low neurotransmitters. Well, you need neurotransmitters to have heart pulses. You have to have good neurotransmitters to have a good bowel movement, to have urine flow. There's peristalsis problems or usage everywhere in the body. You know, urine moves that way, stool, heart. But I would go that way, and I would take 2 dropperfuls of the endocrine gland formula to get my eyes and take a look at that. You might have sulfur in the gut. Who knows? That's why the eyes, when I don't have eyes, I feel like bare naked here. It's like, oh, but what? I want to look. Do you have genetics in the heart area? That's going to be mid-trans descending. So you could have a serious ballooning or a spastic area on the mid-descending colon and have spasticity to the heart. You know, everything is related together, neurologically, blood and lymph. It's all one big house. Everybody's a family. Like the world of chemistry. Everybody's family in nature. So if you're standing over here as a medical doctor outside of that, you're staying way outside of life and making accusations about life when we're all living in it. I don't know. Oh, well, looky here. So here we go. We've got lightheadedness, dizziness. Blood pressure is normally 117/79. But when I'm in a doctor's office, it is 142/92. Okay, so basically that's one arm. So check the other arm too. You want to take a look. You have a kidney and adrenals. Blood pressure is kidneys and adrenals. The top systolic is your adrenal pressure. That's neurotransmitters. And the bottom is your diastolic. That's your kidney pressure. Below 60, weak kidneys. 65 is about as high as you want your kidney pressure. Anything above 60 to 65, you have high blood pressure in the kidneys. Adrenals, 120 is textbook perfect. Anything below, low blood pressure, and you start feeling more tired and more tired. So you got 79. Let's say 70. Let's just call it 80. So you got 117/80. Let's get those kidneys opened up, and that 80 starts coming down to 75, down to 70, 65, down to 60. Kidneys are feeling really good. Yeah, what happens to the adrenal gland on top of them? Oh, they want to feel good too, so they're coming down. Oh, they're already down. They're at 117. Holy crap. I'm going to dump about 20 points down. I'm going to take 20 points off of this. I'm going to be down in the 90s. And this is why the anxieties. And you could even have lower than that, actually. And you're going to see this when you start detoxifying, because I've said this before, your cell, everything goes down to its genetic pass. It seems like no matter what we throw in there, your body just takes it down to that genetic pass in memories and then starts changing them and rebuilding them. I mean, we don't even have a clue sometimes of the depth of what is going on here. That's why, how can you cuss nature? We don't even understand nature. Now, the dizziness could be coming from the back of the head, and again, very suggestive of ear, mastoid cerebellum. But then again, we're going to be looking at the colon. Mostly, we're going to be looking over here at this flexure, or we're going to be looking at this flexure. Now, if we have a pituitary down, we could also come right over here and have a thyroid and parathyroid down, which then that could trip you into also calcium utilization problems, which could trip you into heart arrhythmias. You know, all this calcium is a very important component for nerve transmission. So you start getting your nerve rings and you start getting low blood pressure from the adrenals, and your parathyroid's involved, and so now you're getting low calcium utilization, so your nerve transmission is low, you're getting your myelin sheaths down. Yeah, you can have all kinds of things. And even seizures, spasms, it goes on and on and on. I hate going to conventional doctors. I get nervous and my heart beats very fast. I can see that. I don't blame you. And that just shows you there when you get your blood pressure doctor's office, because they hurt. You know, if you come in ours, I hope you come and give us a hug and sit down and relax. And we'll show you how to get yourself out of trouble and wind yourself out of this. I sure wouldn't want people hating to come see me. That wouldn't make me feel too good. I had 6 blood panels done, and she said my blood work was perfect, and she didn't know what was causing this. She don't know. Send me a copy of your blood work, your latest blood work, sweetheart, and a picture of your eyes, and we'll meet back here in front of the camera, and we'll talk about it. That'd be next, Megan. Ask for blood work and eyes. All right, so Megan will see this, I think, and we'll take a look at you and see what's going on there. I would also take the heart formula. I think my heart formula is a blue ribbon heart formula. I love my heart formula. I would take that just out of the outside. You've got some antispasmodic materials there. You could even take the antispasmodic. I would take the brain and nerve formula. Add this to your protocol. Your kidneys, you want a lymphatic formula. You want to work on the GI tract for sure. You want to clean this up. But a picture of your eyes is going to help you look at this, your gut, your pineal, and we want to look at the pituitary. And a big thing for ladies, for all of us, is going to be your parathyroid gland. That is essential, sweetie, because that's your bones, that's your happiness, and that's everything else. The fact that you're having these high anxieties, that's neurological. It makes me think you probably have nerve rings. And so you just have to look at this sort of thing and just start going, clean and strengthen, clean and strengthen. We just call it cleaning detoxification, but you don't have to. The word just comes naturally out of nature. Nature, that's just what hydration does. It begins to alkalize, hydrate, and make things more fluid. So then your blood moves better, your lymph moves a lot better, and everything starts moving. Energy starts processing quicker, cells start raising up their consciousness, absorption through the cell membrane wall increases, because a lot of people don't realize that's another malabsorption issue. And the pH factors of the interstitial versus a cytoplasm is vital to that. So you got a lot of things to think about, but if you think about them, you go nuts. So you can't think about them, you just have to know them, and just realize if you keep it simple, the body responds and loves you back. It'll take what nature put together. That's why there's food, and that's why there's different types of food for different species. And that's why man needs the fructose. Essential. He's the most brain of all of the animals on the planet. He needs the fruit. And anybody denies that, I'm sorry. You guys whoever denies that doesn't have much of a brain. Yeah, I can say that. I can get mean. Yeah. This misinformation, I've had it with that crap. People that have these ideas that go nowhere and have no scientific reason to have that idea. There's so many of these ideas that are unscientific, like high-protein diets and stuff. That's totally unscientific. If you want the science behind it, you see why there's RA and all the loss of kidneys, why all the arthritis is in the bodybuilders, why the loss of muscle, the sagging of the tissues, the rectum blowing, and all the stuff that you see in bodybuilding. So if you want to build your body up, do it smartly. Ben's going to soon have his nutritional kind of he's in our school, and he's going to do the nutritional site. It's really the fitness site. Not so much nutrition as more fitness. And that's, if anybody knows fitness, it's definitely going to be Ben. And I'm excited for that. He's got a video out showing his move with his daughter. Did you see that one? That guy can move. For a big guy, that guy can move. He's into martial arts and stuff like that. Just up my alley. I love all that. But it's a good example of where you can go as a pro and what you experience as a pro. And thank God, Ben, you saved yourself coming back out of that. And I've just had case after case after case of these sort of things with bodybuilders and Mr. Olympia, matter of fact, and some of these things. And it's like, yeah, save yourselves, you know. Maybe that whole industry will change and adapt, because I had I think I told you, a super pro, won't mention any names, big legend, writing a book on how bad the fitness and bodybuilding business is. And we were talking on the phone the other day, and oh my God, he's filling my earful. And it's like, I knew some of this, but not good, you know. And really, I want people to realize you're uniquely you. You're uniquely the beautiful person that you are. And you want to be that unique person. Our minds are being conditioned and programmed by special interest groups and governments and things like this. So this is why I teach getting out of the mind into who you really are, instead of using your mind, the body. The mind is a body, just like your physical body, believe it or not. Not the same look, but the mind has no dimension to it. The lower mind does. The causal mind definitely has the look of your body. That's how you get that look. But go one level higher and you lose form. You lose form out of the causal world. But causal world down is form. And that's in everything. And you have to come down through there to get form. Right? So as soon as you leave the causal worlds, you're into pure cosmic consciousness worlds, pure mental worlds, and those are just, you start losing any vocabulary, of course, anything like that, because there's nothing to say about anything. It's just direct experience, and there's nothing to say about it. A deep state of aloneness, and but that's a nirvanic state. It's not like a loneliness. It's a nirvanic state of the self. I can't even describe it to you. You have to go there. Spend some time alone and let thoughts go. Don't let others control your thoughts. And this propaganda about proteins, this propaganda about sugars, there's so much propaganda from the medical world that has no clue how to cure anything, that has the top level of kills ratio of anything out there. Their kill ratio is unreal. And even nurses have a kill ratio. But I'm just saying, as a whole modality, the kill ratio is astronomical. And you don't have to kill people to make them better. There's advanced people not going to make it, but you really don't have to kill someone to make them better. So I love you guys. Sorry about the quirkiness on this video, but you know what? Sometimes I just about had it, and it's time to draw the line and get your power back. Some of you guys, get your power back. This lady with the husband, get your power back. Don't let them play this game on, oh, let's do a biopsy, then we'll give them radiation, then we'll see if we can shrink these masses. You get that many masses? Are you kidding me? They're going to destroy your husband. Cut his liver out. See, go the right way. Reverse how he created this. Reverse how he created this, and he'll be free from this. Because the rest of his body's prone too. And by the way, chemo goes head to toe, non-discriminatory. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. I'm here for you, and that's why I get so passionate about it. If I didn't care, I wouldn't be so passionate. But when you see enough people destroyed, it just gets me. I've had it. And these people need to wake up, or something's going to happen. Can't keep going down the same road to Hellville and never expect things to get better. When everybody's driving their car down to Hellville, how do you ever expect to get to Wellville? You've got to look back to Wellville and say, hey, what do I need to turn this car around? Because I'm going down to Hellville. The chemistry I'm playing with is destroying me.